They're no longer pushing strong black men in positions of political power.
Right.
Right. Now, the new tool is let's find a black woman to push up in political power. Right. And it seems great. It always seems great. It always seems, you know, like, okay, behind this is women empowerment. Right. But what is the reality of their political consciousness?
Right.
And are they for our people? Because it's one thing to stand in front of the people, to throw about significant dates in black history, to gaslight us, to connect with us. It's another thing to get in that office and do some shit that's radical.
Absolutely. And you notice when they get these black women to be in these political positions, they always make sure that that black woman has a white mate, even if she's LGBT. Lori Lightfoot out of the Chicago area, white. Kamala Harris, white zaddy. The Supreme Court lady, Ketanji Brown, white zaddy. You see? That's not by accident. They understand who you lay up with, especially as a woman. If you're laying up with a man, you're going to take on that man's ideology.
That's a fact.
That's just human nature. So they understand that these are proxies for the white supremacist male when they get these women who's laying up with these people in the dominant society. So what are they really going to do for black people? Nothing.
A lot of black women are interested in swirling in some capacity. And so you can't talk about modern relationships today if you don't address interracial relationships, because that is something that is always on somebody's mind, or at least always on these lovely ladies' mind in some way, shape, or form. Whether it's they just got out of swirling or just got out of a relationship and now their eyes have been opened, or they're maybe feeling pressured to get into it, or they want to try something new or whatever. But some way, shape, or form, interracial relationship is usually a popular discussion among black women because it's of interest among a lot of women.
Divestors are weird, and there's something wrong with those girls, because if the message was just about black women, go where you're...
So as someone who does make divesting content, I actually think this is very true. I think a lot of black women, divesting black women, choosing better for themselves, can very easily slip into anti-black content. I mean, even our favorite Sprinkle lady sometimes says things that are anti-black. If you're a black woman dating interracially, you have to be hyper vigilant about anti-blackness, because in a white supremacist system, it's very easy for anti-blackness to seep on over.
There's a creator on here who was talking about the divestors, and it instantly flashed me back to when I was like a teenager watching Paris Milan. When I was first consuming her content, it was just pushing back against the narrative that black women aren't dateable, that we're unlovable, that we're the worst demographic to date, how masculine we are, that kind of stuff. All the things that I was hearing as a teenager who was in PWI and on Twitter during that age where the worst thing you could be was a dark-skinned black woman. She was the first one I heard saying, go where you're loved. You don't have to take this. You should not listen to this. You are special. You are wanted. You are loved. It helped me drown out the noise that is misogynoir. But I was also at the same time watching a lot of left tube, red tube content, the Young Turks. I was learning about history. I was consuming philosophy. I was doing a lot of things, and that kept me off of what I now know is the alt-right pipeline. Like, that content is the starting point for the alt-right pipeline for black women. And because I was diversifying the content I was watching, I was able to avoid going down that line. And because of that, I was educated enough and I knew enough to realize that when her content started shifting to be a little bit more anti-black, well, anti-black man specifically, and she was just saying stuff that I was recognizing as right-wing propaganda because I was consuming news and like people who break down that stuff, I was like, hold up, this is MAGA shit. And I had to stop watching her. I think it also helped that around the same time, I was traveling. I had developed a sense of self-esteem. I had found a community. I was in therapy. I was moving past it, and I realized that she wasn't serving me anymore, so it was quite easy for me to see the red flags and just be like, bye. Because of my experience with that, I am now seeing that the alt-right pipeline has shifted a little bit more. It's now pasta lobster, sprinkle, provider, that kind of thing. And to me, it seems like they are trying to dangle the idea that black women can achieve white femininity and the protections that come with it. Something that the conservative movement and alt-right pipeline always does. Uses your insecurity and vulnerability to ensnare you and push you right along. Deceive you into believing that you can overcome this systemic disadvantage. Fool you into thinking that you as an individual can change that.
if the black man has access to the white woman, that will make him feel more psychologically free.
It will fool them more. Let's say, for example, if you tell me,
He
friends,
said psychologically free.
well, wait a minute.
He didn't say functionally free.
No, it's a fantasy, and then it's a psychosis. In other words, if you are operating, just like they tell us in society,
that means a loss of contact
if you
with reality.
are functioning, if you are functioning on something that is not reality, then you've had it.
Well,
okay? Now, but this is something that the white supremacy system understands. You see what I'm saying? They understand. Well, now we programmed these victims to feel that if they get a white woman, they will have it. Like a black cat told me who was graduating from graduate school at Harvard, that marrying a white woman was a part of the Harvard degree. In other words, I'm really in. Do you see what I'm saying?
Part of ascending upward in
all right.
in the
Now,
system.
the system has programmed us to think that. Just like it programs a black woman to say, all right, if you have a white man, that really means that you are in. Nonsense. Do you see what I'm saying? Because white supremacy is going on. And white supremacy will go on and victimize your children and your offspring irrespective of what you were doing in your bedroom activity. And the white supremacy system further would like the non-white and the black man to think that his phallus or his penis, if you will, is equal to an M16 rifle, which is what he maintains power with.
Or African American. That includes Caribbean men, African men. Y'all see how they try and spin this narrative that all black men are bad? Now let's go here. Homicide offender versus victim demographics. And again, I put hypothetically because all black men and all black women are included in this, but let's just say this was all attributed to black men. Homicide offenders, 8,694 black or African American people. And I'm using black men as the bar because that's where, we tend to look towards. That constitutes 0.04% of the 20 million black men population, hypothetically. And I keep saying that for a reason. Women are included in this as well. Men from Africa, from the continent, Caribbean, all these men and women are included in that. But I just use it as a bar to show how it looks when attributed to black men. 0.04%. That's how many black men were homicide offenders in 2022. Grape. This is a popular one that our women like to focus on. The women, the black women who hate black men, they always point to, well, black men are graping all of us, failing to mention that the men that they're trying to divest to, they have an offender of grape rate of 58, almost 59,000. Compared to black men, 27,000 grape offenders in 2022. Okay? That's a pretty big gap, right? So what makes our women go out into the world, get on these YouTube spaces, and try and attribute grape to black men?
Okay, could we talk about divesting for 1 minute? Right? Now, I understand exactly where the divestment movement is coming from. I know that they have a lot of good points. I know the black women involved in this are probably black women who are truly just fed up with how everything is, systematically and in their interpersonal relationships. Like, we can all see that. But I think a lot of us need to take a moment to realize how these algorithms are playing with us, right? Right? Now, I'm not saying that decentering men is a bad thing or not, just taking time to yourself, taking care of yourself is a bad thing. No. But this idea of divesting from the black community and black men, I don't really know how that's going to really fully help black women, especially when not all the points, but some of the points is leading to black women dating outside of their race. Like, I don't know if misogyny is not going to hit as better or worse from white men than it would from black men. But yeah, I just want us as black women to pay attention to the algorithms playing on our emotions and stuff. Like, they know what's going on and they play to that.
So I'm not here to try to convince any woman that they need to date or marry any particular race. I just believe in having honest conversations. And unfortunately, when black women talk about interracial relationships, it's usually dishonest. Oftentimes what happens is that we had bad or failed experiences in the black community, and then we want to take those broken pieces of ourselves and then bring it into the white community without first being self-reflective. If you can literally say an entire people group, an entire race of men is better than another race, that means you probably don't know them. Because if you actually knew white people, you would know that they also have struggles, that they also have issues. I mean, 80% of Americans, just about 80%, live paycheck to paycheck, including white people. So no, white men aren't going over here, all of them with trust funds, buying their women houses, flying them out on yachts, just treating them like goddesses. No, that is a literal fantasy and fairy tale. As I mentioned before, if white men were treating all of their women like queens, then feminism would not have been started. Feminism literally was started by white women who were unhappy with their position in society. They wanted more power, they wanted more access to wealth, they wanted more agency. So no, that's not true. Also, white men treat us better, but they don't marry us. Currently, about 1% of white men in the United States of America have a black wife. I'm not talking about a girlfriend, I'm not talking about a side piece, I'm talking about wife. Married, shared assets, all of that. It's about 1%. Also, they literally had to pass a Crown Act in 2019 to ensure that black women could wear their natural hair in white-only spaces and not be discriminated against. But white men treat us better? Really, the math ain't mathin', and at the end of the day, you're going to find good black men out there, bad black men out there, good white men out there, bad white men out there. It's not about the race of men. And I think a lot of times when black women start to pedestalize one group of men and overlook another group of men, we're not dealing with the root issue. Water seeks its own level. And if you're going from relationship and relationship and getting the same result, if you're the common denominator, it might be that there's something inside of you. Maybe there's some unhealed issues. Maybe there's some emotional trauma, some different things that need to be dealt with internally. Because if we don't become self-reflective, and if we don't actually deal with some of the different issues that are actually impacting our relationships and impacting us, then whether we date somebody in our race or outside of our race, we're going to continue to recreate those same toxic scenarios. It's not about the race of the man. A lot of times it's about the character. If you have good character, you will attract good character. We want to get out of just praising a particular race and overlooking the other because it does not get to the root issue.
There she is. The Camaro that I financed under my name for my husband, who has now abandoned me for his good-for-nothing family. Today is officially day 1 of me being homeless here in Alaska. And so, yes guys, I am officially homeless. I'm currently here at this beautiful hotel here in Alaska. So it's not like I am on the streets, but I'm still homeless. I uprooted my whole entire life from Massachusetts to follow behind my husband, who has now abandoned me for his family. And so I am now out here alone, homeless, trying to figure out what I'm going to do next. Something happened with his mom yesterday. And long story short, she put hands on me. A lot of nasty things were said. She pretty much told me I was no longer welcome there at the house. Of course, Kennedy's still welcome because that's his family. So he stayed there. I begged him to come with me. I begged him, I said, babe, we can figure this out. And the reason why my husband had to move to Alaska is because years ago, he had a warrant out for his arrest, and he fled the state instead of staying here and taking care of the warrant. He fled the state. He got into an accident. It was him and his friend. His friend got permanently injured from the accident, so his friend is currently still in a hospital. And it's now 2024. So, yeah. And this happened back in like 2017, I believe 2018. So he finally decided to take care of the situation. That's why we're back here in Alaska. He's looking into house arrest. But of course, with house arrest, you have to have stability. You have to have established yourself here in the state. So then, my husband came and he was trying to reason with me. He was pretty much condoning her behavior. And I was like, nah, like, you see this is what I'm talking about. I don't feel protected by you. I told him straight up, I do not feel protected by you. I feel like, you don't put me first. Don't be seen that's ruining our relationship.
Because when you notice black women going for white men, They don't take all them weaves with them.
So hell don't.
They don't take all them lashes with them. They don't take all that makeup with them.
Talk about it.
They don't take that obesity with them.
No, they don't.
They don't do none of all of that deep voice, haughty, I'm gonna get in your face, cuss you out. Boy, you better. They don't bring none of that to Zaddy. None of it. Because they know that Zaddy don't accept that. And he's not gonna accept them with it. They're gonna have to act like women.
Exactly.
If they want Zaddy to pay them any attention at all.
Exactly.
And they're gonna have to be the best kind of women to get the lowest white man. They're gonna have to be the best quality of women
Facts.
to get the lowest quality of white men.